Hi, I'm Graham Carman, President and CEO of Tinka Resources. Tinka is an exploration development company with a globally significant zinc resource in Peru. Just put out our PEA, fantastic economics, really good project, one of the largest undeveloped zinc resources in the world. We believe this is going to be a mine in the not too distant future. We've got strong assets, good cash balance, really great team, and a lot of upside as well. A lot of exploration potential. Project's very well located, close to good infrastructure and surrounded by mines. So we're looking forward to moving the project forward as fast as possible.
Graham, lovely to have you on the show. It's the first time we've spoken or met, and first time I've heard the story actually. So I'm looking forward to it. I always like to kind of get to know the business plan and strategy, but first of all, the team. Start with yourself, and then maybe get on to the rest of the team in terms of relevant experience.
Nice to join you, Matt. I'm a geologist. I've had a lot of experience down in Peru. I've worked here for 20 years on and off throughout a long career, involved with a number of discoveries. We're an exploration team. We've been involved with, as I mentioned, discoveries down in Peru before. I'm ex Rio Tinto, Pasminco, base metal focused companies. I am based in Australia. I'm the only expat in the company. We have a really strong team down here, led by Alvaro Fernandez Vaca, who's ex-Hochschild, AQM Copper, and he leads a really solid technical team down here in Peru. The company is listed on the TSX-V. So we have a Canadian office in Vancouver, part-time back office there. And we've got two strategic investors behind us. We have the support of Buenaventura, the largest mining company, independent mining company in Peru. They're one of our largest shareholders, and also Nexa, a major zinc producer. They're a major shareholder as well. So there's a lot of support behind the team, and we for a junior company, we have a fantastic team actually.
Okay, Ian and Sentient in there too as well, I noticed. Tell me a little bit about how long have you been at this? How long has this project been worked on by you guys, this particular team?
Well, Ayawilca was discovered by Tinka in 2013. This team has been together since 2015, 2016, and so in that time we've drilled 90,000 meters of drilling on the project, and we've now converted it into a very large resource. As I mentioned, one of the largest undeveloped zinc resources on the planet. So
tell me about the look. I think one of the big accusations thrown at you guys is the pace at which this is advancing. Now, is that down to cash constrained environment because the zinc price was not really where it needed to be for the last 5-6 years, or is it the fact that you're ex Rio and you do things a certain way, and this is a big project, you need to take your time at it?
Well, cash is one thing. It does take a while at times to get permits in Peru. At certain stages, we've had to kind of go a bit slower waiting for a permit. It is what it is. I guess it's a base metal project. It takes longer than it does, say, for a gold project to get it advanced. But we have been working away at it, and we have been advancing it. And clearly, zinc is hot at the moment, and we think it's going to stay hot for a period of time. At certain stages, particularly in the earlier years, it was relatively difficult to get finance. But now it's not really a constraint, the finance side of it.
Right. So have you used the zinc price and because your share price has done nothing really for the last 3-4 years, right? It's kind of moving sideways at best, right? So shareholders are patiently waiting for the market to move and for you to start delivering things like the PEA to maybe get some stimulus and excitement. But have you been able to go into the market and raise capital? I mean, have you done that recently, and how much cash have you got?
We raised capital just before COVID started, beginning of 2020, and that was with Buenaventura strategic financing then. So it was kind of good timing for us to be able to move the thing forward. Then, of course, COVID hit. And also Peru was very, very badly hit with COVID, one of the worst hit countries for COVID on the planet. In fact, on a per capita basis, I'd say it's probably almost number one. So everything shut down for months. And things have been back to normal now the last six or 8 months or so. So we raised 12 million US at that time. The company still has around 7 million US in the kitty. And so we've been able to raise cash and enough to keep the project moving along. As I've just as we mentioned, we just literally last week put out our updated PEA on the basis of the drilling that we did last year and the engineering work that we've done in the last 12 months.
So it sounds like you raised money at just the right time, quite frankly. Well, I say that, what was the zinc price at when you raised that money?
The zinc price was about $1.20 odd, $1.10, $1.20, and now it's $1.70 or $1.60, $1.70.
Right. Okay. Fine. That's interesting. Okay. So with regards to COVID impacting your ability to move around, at least you've got a lot of locals in the company. Peruvian elections probably haven't helped that narrative either. You must be glad to see the back of it. Is it November?
So the elections were held 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Back and the new president was signed in the end of July. There was quite a lot of nervousness around that election. It was between a rock and a hard place. We had a left-wing guy that was ultimately elected. He just got across the line by a very small number of votes. There has been market nervousness around the elections, no doubt about that. Having said that, things are really starting to settle down. The original, well, there was, let's say there was quite a bit of uncertainty. Things are improving. There's been a shift towards the middle. There's been some changes on the cabinet. The prime minister's come and gone, and the new guy is a lot more kind of moderate. So we feel that certainly we're feeling a lot more confident today, and the mining companies I've been speaking to feel the same way today than what they were, a couple of months ago. There's just things seem to be calming down and going back to a bit more normality.
Does it mean mining licenses and permits will be quicker, or it'll just be that nothing's really changed except you've got more certainty around the fact that you won't be paying more taxes?
Well, we're not sure about that yet. Really, we're not sure about too much. The new guy doesn't have a strong mandate in the Senate, so we actually think it's more likely to be the same old for the next period of time. Not a lot has happened here. There's been a lot of shifting of chairs in the leadership roles, but there hasn't really been a lot of change per se. There's talk of higher taxes, but that's all it is at the moment. There's really nothing that clear in terms of what the programs are going to be going forward. In terms of permitting, we don't think it's going to really affect very much, at least not on the ground. Tinka talks to the local communities. We file our permits. Permits you do get the permits, but it just does take a long time to get permit extensions and renewals, not so much, but certainly extensions. It is a cumbersome process.
I think we've talked about it a lot on the show, that Peru and Chile, Ecuador, the whole South American political scene just kind of slows things up in terms of the uncertainty for foreign investment, for sure. Let's get back to you. You've got a zinc-silver project here. We're also probably what I'd like to talk about the kind of copper-gold component, which you announced recently as well. But what is it that you set out to try and do back in 2015 when you came aboard? I accept all the kind of delays and the reasons for that, but what did you set out to do? Has that changed any? Can you as an exploration team ensure that this will become a mine, or will there need to be another change of management to ensure that continuity, that delivery through to mining status?
Well, we set out to make a significant discovery, and we've done that. It is one of the largest undeveloped zinc projects in the world. There's nearly 9 billion pounds of zinc in the ground. There's meaningful silver associated with it as well. So we set out to do that, and we've done that. We still want to show that and continue to find more, because ultimately this project will get bought out, and it's important to show how the upside and the size of the project and the size of the resource to the market. In the meantime, we put out our PEA. We are going to continue to push this now towards development. There will be some change in the management team as we move it forward towards the development. We're looking to make some changes, in the not too distant future around that. At some stage, this project will go into pre-feasibility or feasibility, relatively soon. We believe that this could be a mine within the next 3 or 4 years. Don't see any reason behind that. Permitting for a mine will likely take a couple of years. So we've got to get all those kind of things in place in terms of the long lead items for that permitting process. But there's no reason why this can't be a mine, the next major mine in Peru, in fact.
Okay, so you're setting this up for some sort of takeover. So coming back to your team, you're going to take this through the feasibility. Now you've done the PEA. You're going to take it through the feasibility study. Just remind us of the kind of big headline numbers on the PEA.
So we used $1.20 zinc, and $1.20 zinc, the post-tax NPV 8% is $433 million. A modest build initial capex of $264 million. Bear in mind, at current zinc prices, we use $1.65. The NPV essentially doubles. So it's getting very close to $1 billion post-tax NPV. 15-year mine life, 8,500 tonne per day production. If it was in production today, it would be a top 10 global zinc producer. In fact, it would be number 8. And produce meaningful silver and lead as well as a byproduct. And of course, the silver gives us opportunity to bring in streams and assist in the financing package later down the road. Reminder to everybody that we own this asset 100%. There's no the company has no debt, and there's no there's no encumbrances on the asset.
No NSR, nothing like that.
There is a 1% NSR that we can buy out for $1 million US.
Okay. Given that's the plan, you've got $7 million left. Where does that take you through to?
Well, the plan is relatively soon to kick off a pre-feasibility study. We're just dotting the I's and crossing the T's on getting the permits up to speed. We believe we're going to have those permits in place by the end of this year, and we can kick off that program in the new year. And so the intention is to use those funds to commence the infill drilling, but also importantly to carry out some exploration drilling to continue to expand and extend our highest grade resources. There's no doubt that the high grade resources really make a big impact on the economics and also, of course, make the project more attractive. So that the current funding will get us a long way towards completing a PFS.
Okay, and if you look at the market, and just a bit of market knowledge from me, if you don't mind, because I think zinc's kind of the slightly unsexy commodity there compared to some, right? So not a lot of people can go raving about the zinc market. You might. but not a lot of people do. So if you do get this thing into production, and it would rank as number 8 in terms of the size of producer it could be in the world. How sensitive is the zinc market to new entrants and new supply coming in, or does the demand profile looking forward look like, well, there's a big gap, there's room for all of us, it'll be fine?
The supply side for zinc looks very good, we think.
Very good, as in there's a shortage of supply, or not enough supply to meet demand?
There's not really that many new developments in zinc space, unlike copper, shall we say. But even with zinc, there's most of the world's assets are old, tired mines that have been around from the 70s and 80s or even earlier. There aren't a lot of projects like Ayawilca just sitting out there ready to be developed. There's very, very few. There's a scarcity of assets. China is a major producer of zinc. They're cleaning up their environmental act there. And a lot of the zinc over there is produced by a whole heap of small little operations. And their production's continuing to decrease over time. Not only because of lack of resources, but also because there are new environmental constraints over there. So there tends to be, or there has been from the analysts and experts in the zinc space, a bit of pessimism around, it's the zinc market is going to be oversupplied, but it never actually happens. It hasn't happened in a long time that there's going to be oversupply. The zinc was supposed to be at the moment, back down $1.20. Here we are at $1.70. So that's fairly typical. A lot of the calls on zinc seem to be a bit negative or a little bit, not kind of, on the supply side. There's going to be a whole heap of zinc come to the market, and it doesn't happen. So, the fundamentals we believe look very, very good for zinc. And here we are, zinc is flying along. We're still not seeing that the supply hit the market. So the demand's solid through galvanizations and through the EV thing. There's a lot of zinc goes into car manufacturing. And there's certainly an EV angle to it, and also the kind of green energy angle. Heck of a lot of zinc goes into wind turbines and so on and so forth. So again, it's a very useful, essential commodity for the world.
I get the use cases. I just wondered. Well, I guess what I'm trying to get at is to say, right, you guys have got some money. You start the PFS in hopefully Q1 and work your way through there. You've got a couple of strategic investors in the shape of Buenaventura and Nexa, and sitting at 19% and 9% respectively. You're really cheap at the moment, right? You're really cheap at the moment. You're $70 million. Your share price around 20 cents, and I say, kind of moving sideways, which kind of suits those strategic partners in a way, because if you do all the hard work for them, they can walk in and pick this up on the cheap. And why shouldn't they? But for your shareholders, they're like thinking, what's the management team going to do for me to drive this share price up between now and the delivery of a PFS? And what can you do?
Well, we can, we can... the discovery side of it's very important. We can really focus on the exploration side as well. There are some really important key areas of the deposit that haven't yet been drilled, and we plan to drill those areas this year. So, new discoveries. We just continue to prove and show that this project is going to get developed, and create as much tension as possible between these and other potential acquirers of the project. There are others. We're talking to some potential other acquirers of the project, and to create as much tension as we possibly can between the two companies that are already there.
Which I agree with. I think, competitive tension, you absolutely must do that. It's a question of how do you do that? The zinc component, I get it. And you can do some exploration for sure. It's already big. And making it bigger, is that going to help you? Or do you also focus in on something I mentioned earlier, which is the copper gold component, right? Not getting away from the zinc silver. What have you seen? Just tell us a little bit about what you announced there, and let's see how you can perhaps leverage that a little bit.
Good point, Matt. So back in July, and not long ago, we acquired the adjacent ground from BHP. So we've now got a really large area to explore surrounding our existing project. And they did some of the hard work for us in terms of the airborne geophysics and identified some targets on the ground. We've gone back into one of those areas in particular that they identified. It's an area that we call Sylvia Northwest. We announced the initial results to the market a couple of weeks ago only. And we've discovered some really high grade gold copper outcrop over quite a large area. I've got an area of several hundred meters by I think about 100 meters. Never sampled before, virgin area, which you very rarely see. 100 odd samples averaging 0.8 copper and 0.7 gold, and so we've got our geos up there right now at the moment, sampling as fast as we possibly can, mapping the area, taking lots of trench samples, and there's definitely going to be some quite a lot of news coming out on Sylvia over the next few weeks and months. The intention is to move it forward as fast as we possibly can, Matt, in terms of initial exploration, and get it permitted and drill ready as soon as we possibly can. Now, again, we talked about permits earlier on, but we'd be hopeful that we can drill it on the back end of next year. It will take at least several months to get those drill permits in place. But in the meantime, there's a lot of work to do on the ground. The geologists have uncovered an area of a strike length of about 3 kilometres of alteration and potentially mineralised rock within that 3 kilometre strike length. There's a heck of a lot of work to do on the ground, and a lot of news to flow out of that property in the coming weeks and months.
Okay, that I think is going to excite people because some of the grades that you referenced in some of your press releases are meaningful, right? They're meaningful. You want to see if you can. That's a project in its own right, which kind of brings back the strategy bit, which is I want to be really clear. This will become a mine, you're telling me, but you aren't the guys to do that. You're going to create some competitive tension with existing investors and potentially others who will come in and do that. Is that what you're saying? I just want to be clear.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that is 100% correct.
Got it. And then that could be an asset sale. If the copper gold thing comes off, you continue with that. You're an exploration team after all.
Well, and that's right. So the copper gold property, Sylvia, is we put it into a separate entity locally. So we do have the options to potentially do, say, spin out or carve out the assets into different homes if needed.
Okay, so one or other of those commodities could be spun out or sold as an asset purchase rather than selling the company. Got it. Understood. Just want to be clear because we've had lots of questions in about intent and what you need to do, what you don't need to do, to maybe sort of drive the share price thing. But you've kind of answered that. So what is between now and Christmas? You are going to be doing what precisely? Because you're $7 million. You want to start a PFS in a year. So just remind me the deliverables between now and then. You think?
So between now and Christmas, we'll be focusing on the copper gold property. That's going to be where the focus is. The geos are out on site at the moment. There's going to be some news coming out. I'm anticipating it's going to be really, really good in terms of just showing to our investors the potential of this property. We think the potential is really fantastic. We don't believe that BHP, they're a wonderful company, but we don't believe that they gave this area the attention that it deserved. They went out, looking for kind of the indications of a huge outcropping kind of Antamina style deposit. And Antamina is one of the world's largest copper mines, outcropping at surface, actually has zinc as well, one of the largest copper zinc mines. And yet here we are, we're getting really high grades copper with gold. And that is quite unusual in this part of the world. We think it's very exciting for an early stage property, and that's what we're going to be focusing between now and Christmas. And then in the new year, we'll be putting in place the team for Ayawilca to move that forward as well. And then next year we'll be moving the two projects forward in parallel.